Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Joe here. The guy, I'm gonna be honest, I actually hear screams in space. I'm here to talk about UFC 305 this time. No storm, so I'm actually shooting this at a reasonable time. I got a little distracted around like 5 a.m. my time. It's almost 10 my time. Got a little distracted, I'll be the first to say. But 305 was fun, but there was some judging and refereeing that really stopped me from loving the card. Excuse me. But enough talk. Let's just get into it. Let's get to the fights.
Yo, it's me. It's DDP.
Main event. UFC middleweight title fight between Israel Adesanya trying to get that belt back, become a 3-time champion, against DDP, Dricus Du Plessis. And I'm going to be real. Dricus Du Plessis is somehow the worst and best middleweight. Not best fighter, obviously. Best middleweight on the planet. He's somehow the worst and the best. Horrid technique in his grappling and his striking. He is horrible to watch. I was convinced my nose was going to start bleeding from how upset he was making me. And it's really funny when you put him against a guy like Adesanya, who's very technical on the feet. It's like, wow, night and day. Oh, wow. But Adesanya, he was doing really well on the feet. We didn't get a chance to do the preview show, but I have my picks still. I knew what they were. I didn't do very well. So, I picked Adesanya. I was going to pick Adesanya to win by decision. I figured it wouldn't be fun. DDP is going to try and be aggressive to flail, try and get takedowns going, but I didn't think it'd be very fun. The fight was actually pretty good. It was a pretty good little fight. Adesanya did well on the feet, but man, on the ground, someone on Twitter, I forgot who it was, I think it might have been Grabaka Hitman, I think, Caposa. I think they might have said something like, it's like the ground is lava for this guy, and that is pretty accurate, I feel like. Maybe it was him, maybe it was Beige Frequency, maybe Luke Thomas. I totally forgot. But I heard it earlier in the night after the fight, so I read it, and it just kind of stuck with me because that's pretty accurate, I feel like, to do it. Just so defensive. Like, he's just kind of, like, we don't see him on the ground very often, but he's not great there. We kind of know. We know that, like, you know what I mean? It kind of sucks because, like, you want to see, like, even specialists kind of get a rounded game. You want guys like... I don't think this is outlandish or ridiculous to I'm not asking. You just kind of hope. You know what I mean? I give her a lot of... I almost said a bad word. I give her a lot of crap. But Valentina Shevchenko, before she got... so I can balance, because I'm about to praise her here. I got to balance it by giving a dig at her. Before she got fraud checked and failed the fraud check with Alexa Grasso. No, she came in as a striking background, and she legitimately is a pretty solid grappler. I don't have a joke after that. We gotta all things even, 1-1. But you know what I mean? Like, you kind of want your fighter, like, even like someone coming in with a striking background, to kind of be a well-rounded machine, at least eventually, right? Adesanya's been in the sport for a while, so it's kind of disappointing, and it really puts into perspective when he isn't very good on the ground, especially against a guy like DDP, who has submission wins, has ground and pound finishes. He actually has decent wrestling, but man, his jiu-jitsu technique is just God. I'll get to it at the finish because it's really funny. God, it's so funny. But it really puts into perspective how bad Alex Pereira is on the ground, because Adesanya was taking Pereira down pretty easily and was just kind of dominating him there in their first UFC fight. DDP, though, he had the power advantage. He struggled to hit constantly as Adesanya was landing much slicker shots, more shots, going to the legs, body, and head. But DDP, when he did land, it kind of would hurt Adesanya for sure. You can definitely tell. In the 4th round, he was able to stun him, and he gets a takedown. And from here, it takes the back. All this big damage coming in, takes the back. He threatened it, I think, in the 2nd round earlier, couldn't get it. but he gets it here, and he actually locked his toes. Like, he's like crosses it, like he goes through, like, that, and then he crosses his feet, and it looks like his toes are also crossed. Like, it's frustrating to see. If anyone who doesn't know, just at that point, you can really, 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 really get hurt against someone good. If you try to do that against someone really good on the ground, you can get really, really, really hurt, because that is, your ankle is probably getting eviscerated. And I promise, as much as someone chokes me, they better put me out quick, or else that leg, ankle, and feet is just getting eviscerated. Can you keep the grip strength if you're doing that to me? Because I'm ripping that leg apart. Like, you're just gonna rip that leg apart. That made me hysterically laugh when I saw that, when I caught that in the replay, and I rewound it. I was dying laughing. Horrendous. That said, I can't say anything because DDP would kill me if he looked at me with enough intent. So, it's not, I mean, you gotta critique things on a technical level, but at the same time, the guy can kill you by, like, thinking about you a little hard. It's kind of hard to critique. Obviously, I mean this as an analyst and as a personality. It's all in fun. It's all for the sake of learning. Alex Pereira has threatened to come down. Sean Strickland is next, though. He complained about losing the decision, which, in fairness to him, is close. It's a close decision. But it's pretty dumb, I think, because he kind of coasted to a boring fight with Paulo Costa. I think Costa. Costa, probably why I said it. Paulo Costa. Robert Whittaker's fighting Chimaev. If Robert Whittaker wins, he's not getting a title shot, because that's just kind of how middleweight is. And if Chimaev wins, they're probably going to give it to him next. It's stupid. It's dumb. Man, middleweight just isn't good right now.
Everybody needs good neighbors.
Moving on to the co-main event, to a division that also needs some help, I think, as Kai Kara-France took on Steve Erceg. I was super high on Steve Erceg in this fight, and Kai Kara-France was struggling a bit early, but he managed to catch Steve Erceg with a super slick Dustin Poirier-esque, where he switched his stances and then throws what was normally his lead hand as the power hand. TJ Dillashaw used to do this, but I always associate this with Dustin Poirier, and he used the stance switch left hook to catch Steve Erceg backing up with some tall guy defense, and clobbered him. Hard knockdown, some follow-up, and you get a TKO finish. Honestly, good stuff from KKF, as I was picking Steve Erceg to win pretty comfortably here, but Kai Kara-France could get a title shot next. Manel Kape lost his last fight. Muhammad Makayev's gone. Kai Asakara, he's probably walking into a title shot day one. There's Albazi, I believe, as well, who's unbeaten. So there's that potentially. I mean, you never know. I mean, Pantoja's super good. I feel like a lot of people are like, because his fights are so exciting and it can tend to be close, people aren't talking about how insane he is. But he himself is usually the reason the fight, like, he's the reason it's exciting, because it takes two to tango, and then he's the reason it slows down. So I think people, because of that, tend to discredit him. He is incredibly good, and I would probably pick him. I would pick him to beat both. Rest of the card, Dan Hooker, he guts out a big, great win by split decision. Bad judges tonight. I thought it was clear. He won a unanimous decision in my heart. In my mind, I gave him enough rounds. I scored it for him. My house scored it for him. Gets a big win in a great fight. Again, in an upset as well, I believe I haven't said that, against Mateusz Gamrot. Wow, I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought Mateusz Gamrot was going to, get himself a nice UD win. Jairzinho Rozenstruik put on a pretty good clinic, got a win by decision that was nearly killed by one of the worst scorecards I've ever seen. It kind of reminds me of Paulo Costa getting a bad scorecard win over Sean Strickland. The other one it reminds me of, probably the worst scorecard of all time, is some judge in the worst scored fight of all time, the worst judging decision of all time, in my brain, will probably never get topped, is Diego Sanchez beating Ross Pearson, but one judge, I think, gave it 30-27 to Diego Sanchez. That's the worst card of all time. It gave me flashbacks to that. It was awful. Awful score, but at least Rosenstruck won the fight. They actually fired that judge right after that scorecard. They found out it was him. You're gone. Good. Do more of that. Carlos Paredes. Carlos Paredes. I forgot how they said the name. It was loud in my house. I couldn't hear it. He's like a big, tall sniper out there, just bombing on Li Jianlang, the Leech, just blasting him before a huge bomb of a southpaw left hook comes in, gets the win. Big knockout win. This dude looked awesome, honestly. Definitely a name to look out for. Walter Walker, I believe he's Johnny Walker's brother or something I'm saying? I don't know. Again, it was loud in my house. We were having fun laughing and joking. But he got a submission with a heel hook. Here's how it gets weird, though. Not from a tap. You know, he got it over Junior Tafa in the first round. He didn't tap, though, and he didn't say tap, tap, tap. He didn't verbally do any of that. Junior Tafa just had pain, because this is a painful hold. Leg locks suck. They're so painful. I would rather get a tooth work done than have to be in an ankle heel hook lock for a similar amount of time. No, work on my teeth. No anesthetic. Let's go. It's the worst pain ever. Trust me. If you don't know, you know. Like, I'm telling you. Trust me. From a purple belt jiu-jitsu guy. Trust me. It sucks. And people go easy with them in training. It's just not, it's just terrible. Oh, got chills in the back of my neck. Sorry. Anyways, Junior Tafa, he's in pain from it. He lets out a little bit of because it sucks. And he's rolling to escape. The ref stops it anyways. He was probably getting out. He was probably going to roll out of it. It's another example of bad reffing and bad judging tonight. There's more. But Tafa, I think he ruined a lot of empathy with me because he went over and slapped Walker after the fight. Probably getting fired for that. I want a no mercy policy on crap like that. It's disgusting. It's not good for the sport. You know, even the main event fighters who hated each other. There was a lot of my literal dick measuring contest at one point between these two. Because Adesanya is cringy. And you know, these two made up after the fight. You know, that's good. This Ricardo Ramos, he got gifted a horrible decision. He was gifted a win with getting a decision over Josh Kulibau. Horrid, I thought. Casey O'Neill, she beat Luana Santos by being the aggressor in the stand-up with a lot of volume. Jack Jenkins beat Herbert Burns with a barrage of low kicks to get a TKO win. Tom Lona got a unanimous decision over Alex Reyes. Song Kanon gave Ricky Glenn a huge hematoma. It was pretty gross, and a unanimous decision win. Finally, last fight on the card. Jesus Aguilar beat Stuart Nicole by a big guillotine choke for the win. One last topic, and I'm going to be quick because I ain't trying to be here all day and waste all y'all's time. Khalil Rountree's getting a title fight against Alex Pereira. I like Khalil Rountree, right? He's really fun. He popped hot, which made me go from a fan to oh, that sucks. And I bring up him popping hot because his fight before that was Anthony Smith. He knocked him out. And he was going to fight Jamala Hill in Jamala Hill's rematch. That fight, whole shebang, I'm sure you guys remember. And that fight, funny enough, ended up turning into, that fight ended up turning into a weird series of messes. Roman Dolidze versus Anthony Smith. Hey, you know, I don't know, man. Sport's weird sometimes. But Khalil Rountree getting a title fight. Didn't you guys remember not that long ago when I went on this rant about why is Ankalaev not getting a title fight? That's the stupidest thing ever. What are they gonna do? Yeah, like, let's add to that level of stupidity by getting a guy who beat Anthony Smith by knockout. That's a win. Sure, you can put that on the belt. You can put his little head in your metaphorical, above your metaphorical fireplace and mount it. Sure. It's not a title shot earning win anymore. He isn't that kind of guy anymore. The other thing, too, is you popped hot in your last fight. No consequences for that. I'm not calling this John Jones level treatment, but it's pretty rough, right? But I'm not saying, when I say John Jones level treatment, I'm not saying Khalil Rountree's the one getting the special treatment. Alex Pereira is getting the treatment here. Because I'm reminded of the movie Elf. If anyone hasn't seen it, it's actually, I hate Christmas. It's a long story, long personal story. I'm not a big Christmas guy, I should say. A lot of, long story short, a lot of tragedies in my life, and the things you want for Christmas just aren't realistic, and that's just kind of how life is, and I just kind of accept it. It's just, and so, but the movie Elf's a good movie, like I was saying. In the movie Elf, there's a part where Will Ferrell looks at a mall Santa and leans in real close and goes, "You sit on a throne of lies." That is me right now to Alex Pereira. And I feel bad for him because it's not his fault. He's not a talker. He's not like Connor who just says, "Yeah, I'll fight anybody." He wrestles. Fuck that. Get me out of here. He's not like Sean O'Malley who's like, "Yeah, I'm a champion. I'm a fighting champion. Can I fight Chito Vera, the number 7th ranked guy in the division? Please?" I don't want to fight any of these guys in the top 5. I want to fight the guy who's number 7. It's not like that. Like, the UFC just knows he's their only star because, one, they refuse to put effort into making stars. Look at the Sean O'Malley experience. They're putting effort into him, and no one cares about him. People actively don't like the guy because he's unlikable. 2, this guy's an organic star. Like, he just people naturally like watching this guy fight, and they're so afraid to lose it that they just are doing everything they can to elongate this as much as possible. Let's not give him the wrestler. Let's give him Khalil Rountree. What has Khalil Rountree done to deserve this title fight over Magomed Ankalaev? I'm asking as a rhetorical question to you guys. I'm actually genuinely curious if anyone can argue that Khalil Rountree deserves it over Magomed Ankalaev. I'm genuinely curious if you guys have anything. Maybe you guys agree with me. I don't know. And I doubt he'll ever see this. But if somehow Dana White says this, and he can give me a legitimate proof that Khalil Rountree deserves it over in a meritocracy sense over Magomed Ankalaev, I'll stop saying power slap's the stupidest thing on the planet. I'll stop saying Dana White has become the stupidest man in MMA. Gotta be honest, lately, Dana White and the UFC have been making Cody Garbrandt sound like a genius. That's it for me, though, guys. Oh my god. Oh, dude. It's a lot. It's hard. It's hard being an MMA fan. No one understands how hard it is but us, guys. That's it for me, though. And of course, as you guys know, I've mentioned this before. Right now, it's really hard for us to kind of make money on YouTube with a lot of times they're monetizing us. So the best way to support us and the best way to help us out is with the Patreon. And with the Patreon, you get exclusive content. All the content that YouTube didn't even like. You'll get content early. I've watched all our videos early, like way ahead of time. And even better, this is bias on my part. This is just a little cherry on top bonus. If you join the Patreon as a bonus, you get to, of course, I always say this, you get to request any card I can get my hands on for me to do a retro review of. It's great. And did I mention exclusive content like MMA, INC Uncaged, MMA movie reviews? Like I did one this week. It was sick. It was super fun. And a lot more. I am still working on. Life was a little hectic last week for me, and it was a little bit hectic this week, but I got time now. So I do have something special to really give us a sense of community online. So we all have ways of interacting with each other much more basis. It's something I think that'll work out really well for us and definitely be just a cool free thing we can offer you guys. But we also got more retro reviews on the way inbound. We got more movie reviews on the way inbound. I'm working on a couple little fun projects like an interview. That's actually sounding really fun, and a lot more. So please, Patreon's one of the best ways to support us. You'll get access to all that content and all that content early as well. and even all the exclusive content as well. But as of always, I will be here next week, so be sure to check that out. I'll be here watching another fight night. Oh man, aren't you guys excited for another fight? Actually, the main event, if I remember right, doesn't sound that bad. Anyways, that's it for me. I'm Joe with the INC. Thank you so very much for watching. Peace out.